Today's the 31st.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Yep. Where's my glasses? Alrighty.
We ready to go?
Yeah.
Did Yannick Sinner win the second set of his current match? I think it's they had the tennis channel had a bet as the second set began that you could bet the over and under on the amount of games for the second set. So Alcaraz had won the first set 7-6, right?
Mhm.
And the over and under was 9.5 games. And I told myself that I would have bet over 9.5 games, right?
You would have lost, right?
Well, I think it's 4-1 now, right? Isn't it 4-1 the Yannick Sinner Alcaraz match?
Mm-hmm.
Hola.
Hola.
We them boys.
What's up, Alex? Sorry, I was trying to get some information for somebody, but go ahead.
All right, we're gonna get started. Hello, welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is the last day of Julio. That's correct, right? Julio, July.
Yes.
The last day of Julio. How do you say the last day of July in Spanish?
El último día de julio.
Okay. And then next month, by the way, is Carla's birthday, and as well, one of our 5 children's birthday. Now, how do you say your birthday is coming up on August the 8th in Spanish?
Mi cumpleaños va a ser el 8 de agosto. Yeah, the year has gone so fast and crazy. Is he okay?
Yeah, my dog's freaking out over here. So, Sub-Zero, come here, boy. Anyway, that's why we don't want to get him riled up beforehand. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Can you grab him or no? If not, don't worry about it. Come here, buddy. You can come over here. Come on, buddy. So Sub-Zero is our 8-month-old dog, and as you can see, you can scoot over here if you could lift him that far. He's getting bigger.
He's getting big, and he's becoming a dumbass. Stop being a dumbass.
He's a big boy, right?
Seriously.
He's a big boy. He's 8 months old, and he's doing really, really, really well. So Sub-Zero, I appreciate you, and I hope you do big things.
Look at his head is bigger than yours.
Look how big his head is, though. His head is
Oh
gargantuan.
my
Look at
God.
the head on this sucker,
Mm.
right?
Oh, you're a mofo.
He is a mofo. I'm gonna get him one of those mofo.
I am, yeah.
I'm gonna get
What's
him.
up, Jack? Well, you switched your name, so now it's Nolte Jack. Before it was Jack Nolte, so he switched it. He was bored.
There was someone that had like Jack 2000, or is that Jack Linsteel?
I have no idea what his username is.
Okay, starting today's show as always with a couple of shout outs. Shout outs begin with all of the kids, by the way, that completed our summer tennis camps, and there was a couple of those camps. They worked hard in the heat. They dealt with rain and rain delays. They dealt with us, yelling and getting in their face, and then ultimately they finished their last day of kind of going chill a little bit and kind of watching each other play points and so forth. So shout out to all of them. Also shout out to my oldest 2 boys, Jonathan and Christopher, who are both currently at the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. And Jonathan just left yesterday.
Yeah, his plane was delayed. Canceled Friday night. Picked him up again. Delayed. Got to Dallas. Had to run. They held the door for him to make it. And I think his friend went to go pick him up and went to Denver Airport instead of Colorado Springs Airport. And so he didn't get picked up till like 4 in the morning. Yeah,
I think he's awake now, though. I think he's trying to navigate a way to go see his brother.
Well, I hope he goes sees him. He's like, that's too long of a walk, but maybe he's just being stupid.
Yeah. All right. As well, a shout out to all of the men, women, and I would say young men and young women that took place in our or Deshay. Deshay's her last name is. Oh look. Okay. Anyway, Deshay's group. That
Wally, I think.
Yeah.
But she didn't play.
Wally, yeah.
She just went to go. She was bored, so she went.
Yes. That's been a really fun group. Shout out.
Some people just go to because they're bored to support.
Yeah, a really good group that we do. I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun doing that group on Wednesdays and Fridays. As well, a shout out to Jack Ninsteel. I have no idea if he watches the show or not, but we love shoes. Carl and I, for a while, we still have our business, Stand Tall Sneakers. We still have that, but we don't do as much of it as we used to. We kind of just do it on the side. We still get shoes, but we don't sell them as much. But if shit hits the fan, we can sell them. So we added a couple pairs of shoes to our collection. So the reason why
he did, not me. He's the shoeaholic.
But
He's the one that shops for shoes. I shop for like a pair of shorts maybe every 2 weeks, and I'm dying for these hot pink hottie shorts, and I almost bought them today.
Get them.
But they were like $80, and then they ran out of my size, and I'm like, I can't do it. I'll just wait.
Is there any women out there like Paula out there? What about Ellen Noir out there that really get off on these $80 Lululemon shorts? Like when I was in college, when I was a kid, or high school even, there was a brand Umbro, UMBRO, which was a soccer company. And I didn't play soccer. I was a tennis player. I played a lot of basketball too, by the way. We're going to have a basketball topic for a moment as we move forward. What's up, Stefanizovic and Serbia? So I put down a topic that had to do with basketball. And ultimately, I was thinking about Stefanizovic in Serbia, and I was thinking about Mike Walker in New York City, because we watched a documentary last night called Point Gods. And yeah, that's like saying guard, but God's like with the New York accent, you know? So G-O-D is God.
They were dribbling.
And G-U-A-R-D is guards.
But that one's like.
Yeah, that New York's accent. You know what I'm saying? How do you say that? So like the New York accent, the word is guard, right? Guard. But they say gods, you know, kind of like Louisiana, like New Orleans accent. Anyway, but you were saying that I'm just a shoeaholic. Like I just get shoes for me. I get shoes for her because she looks so good in them.
I thought Bill Russell was a football player.
He died today.
Not a basketball player.
Bill Russell passed away today.
Yeah.
Yes. Good knowledge drop. Thanks, Jack. Yes, he was a Boston Celtic, and I think he played.
Oh, was basketball?
Bill Russell, yeah.
Okay, there was football.
He played with the Celtics.
Shows you how much I know about.
Bill Russell was one of the icons.
83, I saw something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Bill, and my dad's 84. It makes you think.
Him.
So
you can take him.
So Bill Russell was an icon, and still is and will always be, because he played at a point in time where it was rare to have an African American playing. So, you know, you look at some vintage pictures of Bill Russell playing, and you see, you know, all the short gringos, and then you see Bill Russell, and he did his thing, kind of like Jackie Robinson in baseball. Speaking of Jackie Robinson, there was a launch not long ago with some Nike Dunk Low sneakers with the number 42 with kind of a blue schematic and words written on it. And I put in for those shoes. I tried to get them, but negative. I did not get selected. Anyway, back to the shutout. Jack Nolte. Excuse me, not Jack Nolte.
I'll wear the Brooklyn ones just because I was raised in Brooklyn, even though I was born in Queens. But
so I said Jack Nolte. I meant to say Jack Nensteele, who is a friend of ours and as well a club member at Mirror Lake where we teach, and also a family friend for that matter. I've been trying to get a pair of shoes for the longest time, and I finally gave up because during COVID, there was logistical issues with shipping. So I looked for these shoes for the longest time in my size, and I finally just gave up. I was like, forget about it. And I walked into our pro shop, and I was stringing rackets, and I saw a box on the table, and it said my name on it, Justin. And I was like, okay. So I opened the box up, and here were the shoes. Okay.
That was sweet of him.
Very nice of him to do. You know, I put the blue laces in them myself, though. They came with a dark blue pair of laces. I
like the blue, the lighter blue.
So I added these laces. I got these laces from Laced Up Laces online, Laced Up Laces, and really nice a shop that you can get custom laces for. So I said, instead of having a dark lace that matches the shoe, I would get one that matches the emblem on the side. And luckily I already had them. I already had them in the closet, right? So I just swapped them out. For instance, like, you know, when I get shoes, pretty much like rare shoes, I always get a different pair of laces. Not always. So another pair of shoes we added to the collection, and these were Carla's. So these were the Jordan 1s, and these were a limited release, not exactly like this. Or they were released a lot in all red, but they weren't released with the carpeted sides, so the masses could get them. You had to go to the sneakers app and hopefully get in for them. And I got these. And luckily, I got them in Carla's size. So I was really excited about that. I could not get them in my size. They sold out too fast. So Carla's got the rocking pair of AJ1 carpet, red velvet, right? That's what they call them, red velvet, right? And since the last show, the last pair of shoes that we were able to get into our inventory.
You mean you, not me.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with the shoes. He buys them.
But I get them for you, too.
But I surprised me with, like, some shorts. Like, not the
Okay,
shoes.
well, I'll do that, too. So these were also released with an all black lace and the same coloration, but they did not have suede in the back, and they did not have the pink laces. So I was lucky to get in on the same release that you could get at Foot Locker or whatever, but not with the suede and pink. And I was lucky to get a set of those. So we added these shoes to the lineup. So we're really happy about that. All right.
He loves shoes, and he's got 2 more pair coming, Alex. Every time I see him on the phone, I just do this. I'm like, oh my God, he's buying another pair. I'm just like, oh my God.
It's an investment, Carla.
An investment.
It is an investment.
An investment. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you know?
You know what though? My best friend's husband, he has you beat. He has 2 closets full of shoes, stacked up. He matches his outfits. Priscilla, you ever watch? He's from New York. He has every freaking shoe you can think of in the box, all nice. He only wears them for that specific outfit.
Yeah.
Then he matches the hat.
Yeah.
With the shoe. It's unbelievable. The guy could sell all his shoes and probably buy a house.
Yeah. You remember the Biggie Small song, and it comes down and says, with my lumberjack and the black hat to match, right? Same difference.
I like to match too. So I tell him, if you get me a shoe, I'm like, make sure it matches. So I had to go buy red shorts. Thanks to your red shoes that you got me. So now I got to find a white tank top to match it really good. I even wore the bra, red strap, just to match the shoe. Because I like matching. I don't like not matching. Like, he doesn't care, but I like matching. I have to match. Otherwise, for me, it's like, why am I going to wear it, you know?
So it's kind of funny to me, though, that Carla just mentioned that she was dressed to match today. I was standing behind her today.
But I didn't find the right tank.
And I caught this picture.
I didn't buy the right tank.
She got the red shoes, the red strap, the red shorts.
Great.
She's like, what?
Great.
I'm like, let's go.
Great.
Anyway, you'll have many more surprises in the future.
Stop buying shoes.
Do you know that the last pair of shoes that I sold, believe it or not, was a Novak Djokovic pair of Asics FF2s. I ordered a pair of size 10s. I wear a 9.5. And I ordered a pair of size 10s because I couldn't find them at 9.5, hence why Jack got these. I could find 10s, but I couldn't find a 9.5. So finally, after trial and error, I finally said, Carla, forget about it. I'm going to go ahead and get the 10s, and I'm going to get them shipped to me. So I ordered the size 10 Novak FF2s, and I got them, and they came to me. And I spent like what, 160? I spent 160 US on the shoes, maybe 10 for shipping. So like so like 170. You can do, yeah. So I spent like 170. So I got the shoes. I ordered a pair of custom laces from Laced Up Laces, like cement and gray. Anyway, and because they were a little bit too big, it rubbed on the back of my foot, and it was causing me like bloody feet. So I said, I gotta sell these. So I put them on eBay for like $250. It was $250, right? I put them on eBay for $250. I spent $160 for the shoe, 10 shipping, plus $8 or so for the custom laces. So I spent like $178, right? Put them on eBay for $250 because it was really hard to find, and they sold in like 30 seconds. So I bought a pair of Novak shoes, and I wore them maybe 10 times, and then sold them for $70 more than I paid for them, and kept the laces and shipped them with the original ones. So you can hustle shoes. We used to survive that way. But now with 5 kids and kids that are in college, the old axiom that kids get less expensive when they're leaving is incorrect. When they go to college, it can be more expensive in terms.
Not for us.
Well, I'm just saying when they need something, it's more expensive.
But they haven't really bothered us for anything.
No.
I mean, they really haven't. I think Jonathan, he came home. He took us out to eat. He bought his sister stuff, his brother, other sister stuff. I mean, he really didn't bother.
Yeah, he did big things.
Yeah.
He did big things for sure. Last shout out, we're going to start with the first topic. Last shout out is to a Doug Young. Doug Young ruptured his patellar tendon, and much love to you for that. I know it's a devastating injury. I won't get into this here, but I ruptured my patellar tendon. And if you don't know what that is, that's the big fat tendon that runs below your kneecap that enables your mind to lift the front of your leg up. Anyway, there's a whole playlist of those videos, but a lot of people almost daily will see one of those types of videos because they just ruptured theirs, and they're up all night because they can't sleep because there's wicked pain. Anyway, long story short, he did the same thing, and I wanted to give him a shout out because I know how devastating it is. Carla and I went through many nights and many very personal nights where she was taking me to the restroom. She was literally cleaning me because you're incapacitated when you have that injury. Anyway, Doug Young, I really do hope you're okay. Much love to you, and I hope that your patellar tendon mends and quickly, but take your time because it's a rough go.
I heard someone from Illinois won that billion Well, million, because after taxes, I think it was like 780 million.
Shoot. And Mike, check this out.
If I won that, I would not tell anybody. I would keep that in the hush hush.
Yeah.
As much as I could.
Keep it on the low. Carla and I, we live in Alabama, and we do not have the lottery, but there's 2 states adjacent to us, Florida and Mississippi, that have the lottery. So while our oldest son was here, who was 20 at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, we drove to Florida one time. We can take a ferry across the Mobile Bay and then drive a short hop to, once we get off the ferry, it's like right there.
I think we're doing that for my birthday, right?
Yeah, her birthday,
not this week, next week. I think we're going to do that. I told you, let's go to Orange Beach.
Yeah, Orange Beach.
It's on a Monday, so.
And maybe we can catch a concert there.
Maybe I'll celebrate my 43. Holy shit.
Yeah. So Carla turns 43. That is 43. She turns 43 August the 8th. Let me ask a trivia question. What great tennis player has Carla's same birthday?
And there's another good tennis player that has it.
Okay.
There's 2 that have it. 2.
So that would be Ocho de Augusta.
Yes, better. I'm older than him by 2 years, but there's another tennis player that has August 8th as well.
Hey,
that's right. FAA. Very good.
Yeah, I should send them a set of YTech strings for that answer. Jack Nolte, you answered that first. If you play, if you want a set of YTech strings or diadem strings, let me know, and I'll send them to you for that quick answer. Mike Walker got it too. Much love, my brother. We do have a topic a little bit later about a documentary that.
And I got to send Tom Chi his stuff. I have not.
Yeah, Tom Chi is coming. We watched a documentary about point guards, NBA basketball, called Point Guards. You know, I love basketball. Played a little bit until my size, even though I'm 6'1", that's still a little too short. Anyway, but basketball is a passion of ours, and we love to play it. Anyway, but we're going to talk about that documentary a little bit later. Okay, Doug Young, much love on your leg. All right. First topic at 17:06. Wow, that was a big intro. The first topic is the sad state of women's top 10. The sad state of the women's top 10. Notice I'm not saying that women's tennis is in a sad state. It's definitely not. But due to the likes of Raducanu, who and so many more examples we're going to get into, I feel, and you can say in comments whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Not saying women's tennis is on the downswing. I think it's on the upswing. But the top 10, I'm going to read off. And you must, and someone like Mike Walker, and no disrespect to anyone else, but we know that Mike Walker has been a student of the game for many, many, many decades, put it that way. I would implore Mike Walker's answer here. Let me read the top 10, whether you agree or disagree. Iga Swiatek, number 1. No disagreement there. She's the best of the best currently, right? There's no disagreement with that. There's no disagreement with that. By the way, she did just lose to Garcia, the French lady, and we're not going to get into that. But anyway, number 1, Iga Swiatek. Number 2, Annette Kontaveit. Number 3, Maria Sakkari. Number 4, Badosa. Number 5, Ons Jabeur. Not a disrespect there. Number 6, Arina, 1 gear only, always wide open. Sabalenka. We have a student. Well, not really a student. She's
1 gear.
We do hitting lessons with her.
She's 1 gear, and she's 1 gear because of the person that teaches her. And they're all 1 gear, by the way.
Yeah. Now notice there's a big difference between someone that's a student and someone that you just do hitting lessons with. It's a big difference. I don't coach that individual at all.
I stopped coaching her because I feel like a lot of people in Alabama, they listen to this guy a lot, and you know what? If that's what you guys want to do,
go for it.
How about it?
I thought it was kind of funny that the other day we did a little video clip, and we had a message from someone on that video clip from one of our days at camp that indicated something that we needed to do. I'll put it like this: I thought it was incredibly funny, almost hilarious, that the person that was making this comment of how we could do things maybe better used to get their ass whooped by our son that never even practiced. I'm not just whooped, destroyed. Like it wasn't even close.
Our son never practiced, yeah.
Yeah, our son never practiced, and the person that made the comment, obviously we removed it, got destroyed by my son that never even practiced. So anyway, I was kind of shocked to see that. Furthermore, the comment that was left had to do with a little bit of filming at the end of our last day. After having had these people busting their ass for 2 weeks can't 1.0.
See,
and
the
there's
problem
2.0.
the problem with a lot
I'm
of
like, well, how is this dude talking? How is this dude
No,
talking? He has an ugly game, and my son destroyed him like badly. And
the
he
problem
didn't
with
even
the
practice.
Alabama kids in Mobile,
Spoiled.
they all listen to the Spanish coach, and all they do is whack the ball.
Yeah.
Now, one person
And then jump when they hit.
has strategy. I had another girl come with this girl that we do hitting lessons with, and she had the same issue. First of all, I told her, why hasn't anyone corrected backhand? 2, why are you jumping at your approach shots? 3, why is your toss back? If I'm a parent and I'm looking at all these things when this girl has a lot of potential to really be good, I would change all of that. But instead, they're so worried. I heard a lady that I was teaching in a league. My daughter is now doing these clinics, and she was put on with the little babies. He's really good. I almost laughed. I'm like, really?
Yeah, and it's funny. It's not funny. It should be a concern, you would think, but I guess it's really not. The only thing you have to do to beat these kids that are in this kind of
give them an extra ball.
Give them an extra ball, or
bring them to the net,
or just bring them to the net.
Them to the net. They have no idea
because they have no idea how to control or feel the ball.
Who's the best coach out there? I think there are a lot of good coaches. Anybody that tells a kid to whack the ball 1, 2, 3 tennis is not a good coach.
Needs to go back.
You need to be able to hit that extra ball and be aggressive on the right times.
Hit spots.
You have to hit spots and be aggressive at the right time. You don't need to hit the ball and jump all the time. Don't waste energy. Look at Djokovic. Djokovic is a great example of a player that doesn't have to whack the ball all the time. He will wear you out. He'll hit that extra ball you don't expect to come back, and that to me will be your best player. And women's is shorter because I think the ladies don't last as long. That's why they play 2 out of 3, right? Serena was aggressive with her serve, had a great serve. And on top of that, she was aggressive at the right moments. She could whack a ball. In her prime, she could hit another extra ball when she needed to.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do. I feel like some of these coaches, because of the stupid accent, I can do the same thing. They think that they're great coaches, and they're not.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if you are 17 years old and you think you're going to play college tennis and D1 is not looking at you, you need to go to the study. You need to study more. Forget about that route. Study more. Yeah. Because those D1 players are playing Division 3. There are 12, 13 UTRs that are playing D3. They're taking those scholarships away from the ones that are not that great. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm being realistic. I just think parents have too much money to blow up.
Yeah. Being able to hit the ball hard in the grand scheme of the game is meaningless. Okay, we need to hit the ball hard when we have a short passing lane. We got someone neutral in the middle of the net, and I don't want to take the lob. Maybe my lob is in the wind, or maybe I don't feel my lob very well. I have to put pace to pass them. But other than that, as long as you're hitting your spots, moving your opponent, exploiting weaknesses in their game, you don't have to hit the ball hard to hit spots that exploit weaknesses and opponent's game. I'm not saying that you can be a greatest of all time and not hit the ball hard. But there's times where we don't need to hit the ball hard to really dominate, right? And I think this is something that I think you're
It's the same crap I see all the time, man. I mean, I feel like at my age, at 42, and I got 2 young girls that are 16, 17 years old, you're supposed to be a beast at that time, and you have a hard time hitting my shot. That's, to me, it's like, well, I wouldn't waste too much time playing tennis.
Yeah, we were playing 2 of them in doubles, and we were up like 3-0, 30-love, and it really was.
We were about to bagel them. I said
it wasn't even close.
I wouldn't waste too much time investing in tennis. I think you need to look at school at that point.
Yeah, unless your parents are super rich, you're going to go to school anyway. But as you get older and parents, move along, to the next dimension, I can't say you'll be the best prepared. Hopefully the trust fund lasts long enough. Okay, back to the top 10. So number 1, Iga Swiatek. Number 2, Annette Kontaveit. Number 3, Maria Sakkari. Number 4, Badosa. Number 5, Ons Jabeur. Number 6, Aryna Sabalenka. Number 7, Jessica Pegula. Number 8, Garbine Muguruza. Number 9, Danielle Collins. And number 10, Emma Raducanu. Okay. If you ask me, besides Iga Swiatek and besides a aging Muguruza, and besides, and kind of up and coming, even though she's not really young anymore, Ons Jabeur, I think the rest of the top 10 is relatively lackluster. I don't think there's any consistent. Is there any Grand Slam winners in here outside of Raducanu, Muguruza, and Swiatek?
No, all those players could be top 30, top 40. Raducanu really doesn't deserve to be top 10.
Kontaveit at 2. Kontaveit's
Kontaveit
a
just
great
got
player, but how is
she
she?
just got bagel twice? I thought she did. 2, I was telling Wildlife, I was like, there we go. So much for Iga being dominant on clay. You know?
Clary.
I mean, she just lost to Garcia in her country, Poland Open, in the final.
Yeah.
Or in the semis, because I think she beat someone. I don't know if she beat her in the final.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I mean, here's Swiatek that everybody was talking about. Oh, she's so great on clay, blah, 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 blah. She lost.
Well, okay. Now, I know I get your energy wherever you're going. But, however, one match loss is not,
But what I'm saying,
deal.
It's hard to be dominant as Serena and Venus were, as Steffi Graf, as Martina Navratilova, as Chris Evert, as all these ladies were. Very tough to be dominant. It takes a very special person to be that way. And I just don't see her being their type of special. She's special, but not their type of special. Just like Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, we're not going to see that special in a long time. It's not going to be out for us, guys. I'm sorry. That type of special that we watch with these three gentlemen, even Murray, who was there, only won, 3 or 4? 3?
No, he won 2 Wimbledons and 1 US.
3 because of those guys. We're not going to see that for a long time.
Look, Clarion said it perfectly, right to the point. He said random top 10. That's how it feels. That it just feels like, hey, I'm going to drop the top 25 women in the world, and I'm just going to reach out and pull out names. In my opinion, with the exception of Swiatek, she deserves to be there. Now, she's there by a landslide. What does she have, like 8,400 points versus the next person behind her at like, 2 or 3 or 4,000? Like, she's double better than the rest. You have Anett Kontaveit, who I love as a player, by the way. Love her as a player.
She just got beat.
I pick her on fantasy teams that we do here. I picked her last time to make the final. But when the majors start coming, she just don't get going. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sakkari at 3 in the world.
She's
when we started doing shows 4 years ago, what did we call Maria Sakkari and still do sometimes? Back foot forehand, BFF. She hits off the back foot forehand.
She just lost to Potapova in the quarterfinals, 6-1, 6-1. Kontaveit.
But she's number 2 in the world now. Maria Sakkari, what besides being consistently getting to the second week of majors, or maybe not even that much in majors, and making it consistently into smaller tournaments, into this, the 4th or 5th day if it's a 1-week tournament and so forth. But she hasn't really won anything that's going to knock your socks off. Badosa being number 4 in the world. Understand what I'm saying. This isn't Steffi Graf number 1. I'm just throwing this from the hip. Steffi Graf and Venus and Serena and Radwanska and Kerber and Lizicki. And it's not all these type players. It's just random people. Clarion said it best. What has Badosa done besides being a pretty girl? What has she really done? No one remembers second place, and all these people are second places. Ons Jabeur, much love to her. I think she deserves to be number 2 given the list. I think 1 should be Swiatek and 2 should be Jabeur, not just because she made the Wimbledon final or whatever, but because she's a grinder. She gets out there and gets it done. She's not sticking her ass in calendar shoots and showing her abs in a thong advertisement. She's just getting it done. Now let's move forward. Sabalenka has only 1 year. Whack the ball. We were just talking about some girls that we know, and not that we teach, but we have hitting lessons with. And all they do is just whack the damn ball. And they're not even that good at whacking the ball. They just hit it out a lot or totally miss and then blame the surface or blame the sun or blame the day of the week on. Anyway, Sabalenka is 1 year. That's it. And she's number 6 in the world, number 7. No offense. Jessica Pegula. Okay, she's a grinder. She's a soldier. Her dad's a billionaire that owns the Buffalo Bills and skin cream companies and so forth. But you can't tell me that Jessica Pegula is a player if you have followed the game, like, say, Michael Walker or us or Nolte or any. If you've been a student of the game for, say, 42 years, 45 years, even 30, and you follow the rankings and who's number 1 and blah, 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 you cannot tell me that Pegula should be there. And I'm American. I'm not dissing her, but come on, man.
Pegula about 20 years ago wouldn't be in the top 10.
Maybe not even the top 50.
No.
Okay. Garbine Muguruza, okay, Grand Slam champion, beautiful girl.
3 times. Did she win 2? 2 or 3? 2, right?
She won a French Open and a Wimbledon, right?
Okay, so 2.
Which is difficult because the French Wimbledon
But then she didn't win it back to back?
No, not back to back.
Yeah.
The French, so no, she did not do a French Open double, Wimbledon double, meaning she won it on the slowest surface and followed it right back up on the fastest surface. She did it within her career.
Trouble mind, you're right. ATP will be like the WTA in about 3 to 4 years.
Great comment.
I'm sorry, but Alcaraz will not be dominant. He is not your next Nadal. I'm sorry. He's just not your next Nadal. No. I think that people are learning his game. They will learn his game. I don't see the same flashy, that charisma that Nadal had, that personality. He's definitely not the next Nadal, for sure. Not the next Djokovic either, for some that compare him to Djokovic. Definitely not.
His grunt is freaking hideous.
She beat Williams' sisters, winning her majors. Yeah, I remember when she beat Venus, but Venus was a much later stage. But I think when Muguruza won her slams, she won it convincingly. I feel like she's overpaying for a coach. Conchita Martinez is not the coach for her. She needs to go to something else. It's just not working.
By the way, speaking of Serena, Mike Walker, when Iga Swiatek lost the match to Garcia here recently, that let Serena be the only person ever in terms of female tennis, women's tennis, that had finished the entire clay court season undefeated. So Swiatek was trying to do that, didn't happen. So this is one thing we must realize about Serena Williams' dominance, is that she went an entire clay court season undefeated. Swiatek almost had it, but Garcia had something else to say about it. Speaking of Venus and Serena, what are their honest chances at the U.S. Open? I think they have.
I saw that Venus bailed someone a qualifier 6-0, but I think that Serena has a better chance than Venus, obviously. What are their chances? Unless Serena has been working out with a trainer on her diet, maybe losing 20 more pounds, playing against some guys, not girls, guys. I don't think she has a good chance. I think she can go out any day to a 1st or 2nd round person.
Alex Cuyar with the fact of the day. He put it here: 78-4 that year that Serena was. Great knowledge drop. That's a hell of a record. 78-4. It's incredible. Almost unmatchable. Swiatek almost had an undefeated season, but that's going to be really tough to match. That's kind of like the Bulls when they went. What was their record? 72-10. No, didn't Golden State go 71-9?
He's not frail as the tennis. He's just a kid that's still growing. I feel like he's like Burditch, center. He's still growing.
Looks just like him.
Looks just like him. He will grow, and then he will develop. He's going to be a tall, strong guy. I don't see him being someone like Zverev. He's very young. He'll fill in. He's you know how some kids, they grow, they get tall, and then they start filling in later on. He's very young.
Okay, here's a picture of Tomas Berdych, and I'm sure all of you know very well who Berdych is. Mm-hmm. So in my opinion, Tomas Berdych is one of the greatest of all time to never had won a major. Right?
You made a final against Nadal in the Wimbledon.
Yeah, let me show you another picture of Berdych. Okay, there's Berdych. Now let's take a look at Jannik Sinner. It's almost uncanny. It really, really and truly is. Berdych was lanky as well early on. And Sinner's that same point in time, tall kid trying to get his legs underneath him. And here is Sinner. Do you see the lightness there? It's uncanny. It's incredible. I'll go back there again. I hate to bore you with this, but it's the perfect comparison. They should be twins. Berdych. Okay, got him. Berdych. Okay. And then we're going to go back to Sinner. It's incredible. Here we go. I'll show you again one last time, and then we'll move forward on this. Here is Sinner.
I don't think he looks frail, by the way.
It's uncanny. Anyway,
I think it's very tough to be a tennis player with a lot of muscles, especially for a man. The more muscles you have, the more prone you are to injury. I feel like you need to be a lot more leaner in men's tennis. And women's tennis a little bit different because we play a lot less. The muscles definitely help, but I don't feel like that's an advantage in men's tennis. I feel like that's a disadvantage.
Being lean didn't help me when I ruptured my patellar tendon.
you're lean, but you're skinnier than lean. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like Djokovic.
At least in my quads.
Right. I'm talking about Djokovic type. I think if you had like 10 more pounds on you, then you would be fine. But I'm talking about if you were playing pro. But I mean, we're in our 40s, so let's be realistic, right? But I'm talking about someone like Djokovic, or someone. Federer is not frail looking.
His left arm.
But I feel like Nadal, like someone that muscular in that type of level of tennis, it's tough on them. Very tough on them.
Have you guys ever paid attention to, even in his prime, Roger Federer's left hand or his left arm, his non-playing hand? Have you ever seen the difference? Like for me, and I'm not a touring player, but my right arm, I have a solid forearm, right? Here. But my left arm, it's much different. It's not even comparable. You see what I mean? And I'm flexing both. Can you see that?
Mine look the same.
So this got this.
They look the same
here.
Yeah, mine look the same.
And then here, it's totally different.
Not mine. They're about the same. So I don't see that.
Anyway, as far as the women's top 10, do you agree? If you agree, hit ones in the chat, and if you disagree, put twos in the chat. Do you agree or disagree that this is the weakest top 10 that you can remember? I'm not saying go down and research it and prove me right or wrong, but just opinionated right off the top of your head. Is this the weakest top 10 you've ever seen in women's tennis? Mm-hmm. And again, like Clarion said a moment ago, that the men's will be that way soon. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But do you agree or disagree, Carly, yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of the weakest. Absolutely. Wish I was playing tennis.
Exactly. Look, I'm being honest. I'm not even being facetious. I'm being sincere. A lot of these girls, believe me, if you were playing them at 40, soon to be 43, with 5 children that you've given birth to, I still would be really, really confident about you beating them. And I mean that. I really do. I'm not even exaggerating. Ask Robert Frush. Ask any of these people that have seen you play. Robert Frush is SD Tennis, by the way, in comments. But back to where this conversation went to the question, how well does Serena Williams and or Venus Williams do in the upcoming U.S. Open, and how much advantage, or it isn't any advantage that they have home field advantage?
It's not an advantage at this point in their careers. I think Venus could go out first, second round. Serena might do a little bit better, but if they meet a really good player, depending how the draw comes out, unless Serena got in shape and is playing with dudes, I don't think she'll do well.
Can I ask you a question? And don't think about it. Let me ask you a question. You guys answer this in comments, okay? If they played in the first round, Raducanu, who the hell is that? If Raducanu played Serena Williams in the first round, who would win?
I think Raducanu.
Can you think Raducanu for real? I would take Serena. Can you poll question that?
Just because she's younger. She's younger.
And can you poll question that? Put a poll question. If they met in the first round, who would win? Raducanu, or Serena Williams? I would take Serena there. I just would. I get that Serena is not as mobile as she once was by far, but I would take Serena there, not just because I'm a fan or she's from the U.S. I just don't think Raducanu is that good at all, honestly. I just don't. I'm going to take Serena there. How well does Venus do? Does she go deep in the tournament, getting a good draw? And again, I don't think there's good draws or bad draws. Everyone's a pro. But let's just say the cookies crumbled and they landed on a somewhat easy draw. Does Venus Williams make the second week? How does she do?
Venus will lose the first round. That's for sure. That's no doubt about that. I mean, she's older.
I'm willing to bet on that.
Age.
I'm willing to bet on that. I'm willing to bet that Venus Williams does not lose her first round match. Why do I say this? Because she's playing the U.S. Open. I can assure you that the draw makers that are supposedly random are not going to give Venus Williams nor Serena Williams a tough match.
Hard court is tougher on the bigger player, by the way. I mean, it's so much tougher. So I'm sorry, but she needs to shed like 20 pounds. Her Instagram is deceiving, very deceiving when you see her there. There's a lot of lighting. A lot of filters going on, but then when you see her play tennis, you're like, oh shit, she's actually bigger than what she looks on her Instagram page, I think because Raducanu's younger, she can move her, you know what I mean? Move her around a lot, and I think she would get tired. She lost to that girl in, I don't remember her name, at Wimbledon. She could definitely lose to Raducanu. Why not?
As of right now, 80%, 80, right? 80, is that correct? I'm trying to learn. It dropped. I was going to say 80% felt like Serena would win. Now it's at 67%. So 67% of you, per the last poll question, are leaning towards Serena if they met in the first round.
Roger would be
Now it jumped up to 67. So I think most of you are agreeing. All right, real quickly.
Is she gonna lose weight now?
Who? Serena. Real quickly, Carl and I, again, we love all sports, but we also try to involve other sports with tennis when we teach it. We teach throwing the football to serve or hitting overheads, right? We teach footwork by looking at boxing and basketball. So we teach practice and dedication to the game by watching other champions practice, okay? Like Allen Iverson said, practice. Anyway, but we watched a documentary last night, and it was called NYC, meaning New York City, Point Gods. Again, gods, it's kind of like that.
It made me want to go visit New York, babe.
Yeah.
It really did. Like, I want to go to New York and visit. I want to take my kids so they can see where mom grew up. They can go to the schools so they can see how life is different. I'd like them to go visit Brooklyn, Bensonhurst. I like them to visit. I went to PS 94, IS 28, Caballero High School, Lafayette High School, which is closed because it was a really bad high school. I'd like to see them where I trained, Prospect Park, Breakpoint. Go to Eric, what is it?
Down in Prospect. Remember
what's the name of the park I used to train there all the time? Eric. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot the park.
With all the Russians?
No. This was not all the Russians. That was Brooklyn Bracket Club, but that closed down. Eric Leifson Park.
Leif Erikson?
Leif Erikson.
Leif Erikson was like a Viking.
Thank you. That's where we used to train. That's where my dad used to bring the net and everything for us to train. I would love for them to see that. I would love for them to have pizza where I had pizza. Go to Coney Island and eat a Nathan's hot dog. Go see Coney Island Park. Go see the beach so they can go, ooh, oh my God, the water's black. Why would people get in there?
Put them in the Hudson River.
Just so they can see that, and experience what I experienced as a kid. I would really love for them. And then try an Italian ice, an authentic Italian ice.
Let's get down.
It would be a fun trip for them.
Indeed. So the documentary was about the swag, the way that you can tell a basketball player is from New York, right? And I'm going somewhere with this. They were breaking down the history of New York City point guards, okay, that are running basketball teams, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's street ball, whatever, with the likes of Stephon Marbury, Mark Jackson, and so forth, okay? How does the practice regimen and the swag that these players had, even from the shoes to the dress to the chain, how did that swag wrap into how GOATs perform? Is there a certain swag the greatest of all time have, even if it's a chill swag like Federer, just being smooth and chill, or is it the swag of Nadal with the or is it the Djokovic swag with the Do you agree or disagree that the greatest of all time in whatever sport that it may be, they have this interesting swag about them?
Yes, they do. You could see it from them at a very young age. And that's why I think our little guy has that swag.
Yeah.
Every time I watch him go on the tennis court, I'm like,
oddly enough.
And not because he's my son, but I've watched so many little kids and I'm like, there's something about him that's different. Yeah. He looks different. When he hits the ball, it's different.
He always wants to hit.
Something about his attitude that I'm like, I feel like in my heart that he could be special,
Yeah.
So there is something about them. If you watch videos, even though you guys, I'm not the biggest Djokovic fan, I listened to his interviews as a little boy and I'm like, this little boy had something special about him. You can hear him talking, the way he expressed himself, the way he hit the ball. You could just see it. There's something about them. Yeah,
that's our 6-year-old there. And look, we've been around the game
in 2024.
Yeah, we've been around the game our whole life and coach it and are humble about it. But our 6-year-old, and by the way, another kid out there, Miller. Mm-hmm. These two are really always wanting to hit. Like, we wake up in the morning, right? Our other kids, all 4 other kids, over the years, we get up in the morning and they're like, geez, do we have to go to the tennis court? Man, I don't want to go to the tennis court again. And you have to force them. You got to gnash teeth to get them out the damn door to go to the tennis court. But Justin, on the other hand, JPD2, what's up? I'm 1. wakes up and his first question is, are we going to the tennis court? Right? He always wants to play.
And he's shadowing his strokes. I'm watching him walk, and he's like this. You don't have to tell him.
Where are you going, Gabby?
And this one, you have to tell her.
Yeah, you have to gnash teeth to get her to play.
Unfortunately. Even though you got the height for it.
Yeah, she does have the height. She should use that height. Okay, how does the swag that these basketball players relate to tennis swag? Okay, look, it doesn't matter if you're bright and shining or if you're, subtle and chilled, right? There's just a way that the greatest tend to carry themselves. When they come into the room or when they get onto the tennis court, there's just something about them that draws attention to everyone in the room, right? Again, Roger Federer's not some, loud going nuts, but when he enters the room, everyone pays attention, right? It's just, there's some charisma about him. There's some fluidity. There's some ballet about him. Nadal, the same way. He brings something different. I thought it was really nice to see these basketball players talking about the importance of some type of swag or style. Now, we mentioned swag. What are the types of styles that you see with the greatest of all time, right? The same difference. We have different attire. We have different different levels of play in terms of what we like to do. You get what I'm saying? There's a swag about it. Now, the biggest thing that was discussed on this NYC Point Guards documentary was confidence. Okay, that these point guards came out of New York. They had been through so much shit. They survived the hood, right? They survived the hood, and now they are where they were, and that's talking about the aforementioned players. Confidence. Most of these players that they interviewed talked about confidence. I was, quote unquote, always confident. I always had confidence. How do you get the confidence? Practice.
Practice, yes.
Allen Iverson, practice. You get it by practice. So we were talking about gnashing teeth to get kids to play sometimes. Our 13-year-old daughter, Lily, who looks just like Carla. She's like Carla Jr. We'll take her to the court and plan to spend an hour with her. But the first ball that we feed her, it can be mini tennis, it can be at the baseline, we can be warming up. You feed her a ball, she'll hit it in the net or hit it out, and she's salty. She looks like my damn dog Sub-Zero, pouting like a bulldog, right? And then when you pout that way or get down that way, it ruins the rest of your practice. You have to be positive. You have to work hard. You have to stay positive.
That's why we let her watch these things, because it's good for her to see that.
Yeah, so we had Lily watch this documentary, watched it, and then say, Lily, come down, 13-year-old girl, mind you, you're going to watch this documentary. And she was all into it, and halfway through, I'm like, now do you see the reason why we want you to watch this? Because we want you to try to enjoy practice, right? These players, these point guards were saying, if I had to choose, quote unquote, if I had to choose between a girl or the rock, meaning the basketball, which one are you taking? Every one of them was like, I'm taking the basketball. Now, with that said, how many people, Carla, this is a deep question. How many people, Carla, have we trained over the years or be introduced to the game or see just that we have stumbled across? How many relationships have you seen destroyed over tennis?
Many.
Divorces. I'm talking marriages ruined.
Many.
Because of someone learning the game of tennis.
Many.
Okay. It's uncanny, right?
Many.
So what generally occurs is, someone will learn the game and they'll learn it well. You take a couple of lessons and all of a sudden they're cranking the ball. All of a sudden they're losing weight. All of a sudden they're getting in shape. All of a sudden they're meeting people. And then the significant other, whether it's male, female, or vice versa, they're at home. They don't want to complain. They don't want to do anything. They just want to sit there and get fat or whatever. They get mad that the significant other is doing something to better themselves.
Many.
It just happens.
I've seen it before I met you.
Yes.
My dad and my mom knew how to play the game. She learned because of my dad. My dad learned in his 30s how to play tennis. He was a soccer player and a very good soccer player in his country. In Honduras. But he learned how to play the game when he came to New York in his 30s. He picked it up real quickly. He was already married to my mom. I was introduced to the game at a young age, but unfortunately, I didn't like it until I was like 11 years old. My mom learned how to play the game. I remember me playing tournaments and her beating those people that I would lose to. She didn't love the sport, but she understood what my dad loved it, never got in the way. you know, she would say, okay, you like going to the tennis court? That's cool. He would take us and she would go to the beach. And she would come back home at night. She did what she loved and he did what he loved. And it worked out. I think it's a shame that, you know, I went through, you know, I'm not sure many of you guys know, but I went through a first marriage where my first husband hated tennis and I stopped playing for 8 years. And I vowed that I would never go through that again. So I met Justin. It's just a sad thing. I think that if you love any sport, I don't care what sport it is, tennis, soccer, mixed martial arts, football, baseball, whatever, you should always, you know?
Yeah, and furthermore, as a decent human being that believes in longevity and assisting others,
they're getting healthier.
How do you justify not letting your significant other do something good for themselves, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically, whatever it is? Carla and I met, and Carla was basically forcibly not allowed to play the game in which she's incredibly good at. Believe it or not, I'm not exaggerating here. Carla is one of the best players that I've been on court with and hitting balls with. One of those was Justine Henin. That's why I said one of the best, right? I was lucky to do that in 2007, and she beat, I think, Kuznetsova in the final there. Anyway, Carla's a really, really good player, a solid player, a strong player. She's got a good sportsmanship, sportswomanship. She keeps her cool. She's relatively straightforward, win or lose. And she doesn't lose often, by the way. But long story short is the importance of enjoying practice and getting the most out of practice and putting everything into practice and having fun and swag and confidence is what separates your run-of-the-mill player in any sport versus a champion. And yes, sometimes there's champions that talk smack. Muhammad Ali, love him to death. What's up? Muhammad Ali.
But I'm sure that he practiced a lot.
But he practiced.
Yes.
Okay. Muhammad Ali had a quote. If someone can find the exact quote, I'll send you a set of Y-Tech strings or Diadem strings. If someone can quote this quote, Muhammad Ali used to say something, and it's quoted, that winning is much more than what you see in the ring. In other words, being a champion is what's going on behind closed doors. And I forget the exact way he spelled this out. And it should be printed up there. Anyway, but Muhammad Ali was very much involved in practice, very much involved in training, not just in the ring, right? Practice, confidence go hand in hand, right? So Carla, hopefully you get Liliana to stop pouting.
She promised me. And I said, you know what? In order to be better, and I said, I learned this the hard way. Well, my dad didn't allow me to pout, you know. I don't think I pouted because I thought I sucked. I think I pouted because I was on the court. I lived on the court. But, you know, like I tell her, I did love to practice, by the way. I did spend lots of hours besides my dad with my friends on my own, with my brother, practicing on my own for hours. Like my dad didn't have to tell me to go practice. I would do it myself. I'd go take a basket and no one was around. I'd go serve balls. I'd go hit. I'd go work out. I love doing it because I love winning. I love winning. I love having that ranking. I love to be able to beat people that were playing for many more years than I was. And I always wanted to be the best. You know, that's what motivated me to practice. Just the fact that you can hear the kids talking about, you know, when you go to tournaments, oh, that's the person to beat. I love hearing that, you know, so that motivated me to practice. Not only that, when I got sponsored by Reebok, just the fact that I was sponsored by that, it was only 50 kids in the winter and 100 kids in the summer. To me, that motivated me to practice. So I tell her, I said, if you're down, you can't snap out of that, especially as a female. Women have a thing in their head that, and you see it in pros tennis, once they get down, it's so hard to get them out of it.
Yeah.
I was like, you just got to keep a poker face, straight face. There was many times where I was angry. I was battling my opponent and I was battling my father. But I knew that I could not show that emotion out there. I had to keep it within myself. And I said, you have to do that. You have to fight your demons inside. Even if you're really down, you have to fight it. And I tell her, I say, you have to, because you could be so good. She has all the tools. And I think little guy will have an easier time than that.
Look, negative energy is the domino effect. Carla and I, over the years of coaching, we always have a rule when it comes to having clinics, especially the adult clinics, and even the kids ones. But kids, you have to understand, are still kind of kids. So sometimes you're willing to take more outlandish behavior from the kids because, you know, ultimately they're still a kid. But we do clinics a lot. And at the first sign of negative energy, they're not coming back. And if it's someone else's clinic that they're kind of manifesting on their own, and I'll keep it relatively hush hush, but we advise that it's not going to happen again. And what do I mean by this? You ever heard the old saying that one bad apple will ruin the whole bunch? You get a student out, especially on the adult side, and they, don't win a point, or they're trying to win the point, or they're trying to become king or queen of the court, and they keep missing and missing, and everybody else is kind of moving, and all of a sudden they're like, well, your feed sucked, or can you hit the ball here? At that point, what happens if you let that continue? It ruins it for the whole bunch, right? I think sometimes people that tend to blame their issues in terms of whether it's psychological or whether it's performance on the court or whatever, when they start blaming it on things like their shoes or the racket or the feed or whatever, then they're just lazy and have bad sportsmanship. We have to understand that whether it's tennis or basketball or whatever sport that you're playing or whatever in life, it's not always going to come right to you. Right. And the metaphor here is tennis. The feed can't come always right to you. You have to move sometimes a little bit. Right. The ball can't bounce twice when it was fed right to you. That's just laziness. Practice is the way we build confidence, and dealing with negative energy by dismissing it is the best way to have a great practice. The best way to get confidence is by having great practices and not letting negative energy come in, right? We're not innocent to negative energy. We deal with negative energy all the time. And yeah, sometimes we get bent out of shape, and especially me. But generally, when I stay bent out of shape for X amount of time, usually shit happens. Usually nothing good happens. I'll get frustrated and smack something. My hand will get cut, whatever. Some people get frustrated and smack a racket and break it. We want to try to avoid that. Who are some examples of tennis players with negative energy that could have been great and still may be, but just haven't quite done it because of their negative attitude? Stefanos Tsitsipas, A. Sasha Zverev, B. And I'm talking just two players that are still very much on the cusp of being great. Okay, let's bring up a couple of more. Does anyone have any other ideas of players who let their attitudes get in their way?
You're probably saying
Nick Kyrgios. Okay. We can't expect to be great and have people to love us if we're acting like a schmuck. What about this kid Jensen Brooksby, by the way? Jensen Brooksby is a schmuck. Okay, yeah, he might be a great tennis player, but he's a schmuck. We called him a schmuck when he did well at the U.S. Open last year or whatever, took a set off Djokovic, if I remember correctly, or whatever. I think that was Holger Rune, actually. Anyway. But Stefanos Tsitsipas, for example, has all the gifts. He has all the bright, but he gets his panties in a wad and starts throwing tennis rackets at his daddy and cuts his elbow. You have Zverev that fires Lindell and calls him a puppy hater, and now gets an allegation against him that he's guilty of domestic violence, and then that wife or that ex-girlfriend doesn't want to do with anything to do with him, nor does she want any money from him. She's just trying to let the world know, hey, this guy's a dipshit. Right? How many players in history, regardless of sport, have absolutely found the bitter end by acting like a schmuck? What about Ryan Leaf? He went to Washington State. He was a #1 draft pick, got picked over Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, as you know, Hall of Famer, one of the GOATs at the quarterback position. He was the second pick, if I remember correctly. Wasn't Ryan Leaf the first pick of the draft? Anyway, what happened to Ryan Leaf? He was a dickhead. He got in trouble. Whatever. See you later. You have to keep your damn sportsmanship and humility in check. And to the person out there that indicated that, hey, there's too much standing around during the last 10 minutes of the lesson, we do practice sportsmanship. If there's anyone standing in the line waiting for the next person to come in, and there's anyone in that damn line that's fucking around, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to get in their shit. There was two girls that there was.
But these are beginner / intermediate.
Either way, so we're still gonna do it hard from the beginning.
What I'm saying is you're not gonna have them. I think some of these kids are so used to coaches just feeding balls next.
Yeah.
Next, they go to these camps and spend $3,000-$4,000, which is ridiculous.
$3,000 and $4,000.
I would never.
We charge $80.
I would never spend that on you.
$3 or $4 grand.
What did you do? Those kids that went on those camps, I wouldn't have spent a dime if I were their parents. They're not that good enough to go there.
Drive 1,000 miles away just to get fed.
I don't give a crap if they get mad at me or don't like me. I could care less. I don't kiss ass to anybody. But anyways, You don't feed there and just keep feeding and letting kids hit balls. You have to correct.
You have to talk to them. You have to
Yes.
explain things. You have to talk about tactics. You have to talk about why an adjustment here is important for an adjustment later on. You have to talk patience. You have to speak sportsmanship. You have to give them the whole package, because if you're a carpenter and your goal is to build a house, can I do it with just a hammer, or do I need a hammer, screwdriver, nails, 2x4s, wood, adhesive, sealer, insulation? I need to have the whole toolbox. So sometimes what looks like standing around is talking to people about tactics and humility and sportsmanship. And if they are making noise back there, guess what? We're going to call you out on that. Anyway, flipping the segment to this. Who are some athletes right now, regardless of sport, that show signs of being one of those charismatic grand champions? Okay, here's the one I wrote, and maybe you all can come up with a better one. But I wrote the baseball player Aaron Judge. Okay, 30 years old. Yes, he's not a spring chicken. Aaron Judge has really come into it as being the Yankee, the bruiser. I think Aaron Judge right now has 42 home runs, nearly just over halfway through the season, and is doing extremely well. I like this kid. Why do I like this kid? A, because he's a great athlete. B, because he's a handsome young man. But C, he was an adopted child that has plenty of reasons to give up in life. Plenty of damn reasons. His parents told him when he was about 9 or 10 years old, you're adopted. How many people hear that and just go berserk and freak out and get all crazy? Aaron Judge used it to better himself. And I personally don't know of a more charismatic and humble and good baseball player. You know, I love baseball. I'm a big San Francisco Giants fan. Big San Francisco Giants fan. I almost bought a Giants hat yesterday at the mall. Anyway, long story short is I was born in San Francisco. But Aaron Judge is that person. He's that young, charismatic player that is really making a name for himself, not by his outlandish actions and not by throwing rackets and not by acting like an idiot. He's doing it by walking the walk and talking the talk. Okay, he's not being Nick Kyrgios that has to walk out on the court with Jordans on just to get noticed. Even though I love Jordans, I'm just saying I wouldn't walk out with a pair of Jordans on at center court Wimbledon just to get attention. Anyway, he's not one of these people like Jensen Brooksby that's beating Francis Tiafoe and acting like he's mimicking or mocking Francis. By the way, screw you, Brooksby, for that. Francis Tiafoe has paid his dues. Francis Tiafoe's a beast.
Here is another example. Don't get mad at me. Of another rich white boy who is spoiled.
Yeah.
And we have many of those around us. And they think they can do whatever they want. You know, it's like these private school kids. They think they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And first of all, I would have slapped that boy in his face. First of all, I don't like Brooksby. Just saying.
Oh, yeah, hate him.
Can't stand
hate him. But
it reminds me of your typical Alabama junior tennis player.
Yeah.
With their
a big
expensive ass cars and the forehands and the coach that they think is right and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, that's not me.
Yeah. But anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. Brooksby, to me, how is he even a pro? Awful. And the serve, awful. Just saying.
He's just another sissy pass. He's just another kid that is going to try to emulate a bad boy to simply get a sponsor. Now, by the way, speaking of that, there is a docu-series that's about to come out on Netflix, and it has to do with Nick Kyrgios. Now, this docu-series that's coming up, are you curious about watching it? I'm asking you. Are you going to watch the Netflix docu-series that's coming up about Nick Kyrgios, focused on his final run at Wimbledon? Okay. Why do I have a problem with this? Okay, let's put it this way. This docu-series is going to net Nick Kyrgios like 8 figures. I'm talking like 10 million or something. But he hasn't won anything. He hasn't won anything. He didn't win Wimbledon. He lost. And we're getting a docu-series because of that. What type of examples does this set to our kids? What type of examples does this tell future tennis players? What type of examples is he setting for Brooksby? He's acting like the dipshit, just like Kyrgios, in order to what? Get attention? So he acted like a shithead. Everybody's talking about this guy will never earn respect on AP Tour because of what he just did. We talked about this for 4 years on this channel. Why is it that the masses of people these days will put their tax dollars and hard-earned money and pay for some type of service to watch garbage? I'm not saying Nick Kyrgios was a garbage, but he didn't win anything. He came in second place, right? Second place. No one remembers second place unless you act so much like a shithead that no one can remember the damn debacle that you caused.
It's terrible for the person offering the money to do that.
When you think about Stefanos Tsitsipas, what is the one thing that comes to your mind at first? Him making his dad bleed and threw a racket at him. When you think about David Nalbandian, what's the first thing that you think about? Him acting like a dipshit and taking the thing and hurting the ref. When you think about John McEnroe, do you think about his 1987 final and win, or do you think about him being an asshole to the judges? There's nothing new about this. But how in the hell does Nick Kyrgios get a docuseries that's going to give him 8 figures because he made a Wimbledon final? Because he was a dipshit. He was yelling at his camp the whole damn time. You're not going to cheer for me, blah, 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 blah. Made a debacle on center court Wimbledon, but yet he's going to get a Netflix docuseries because of how much like a dipshit he acted. What's wrong with this picture? I dropped my notebook.
Just like what's wrong with everything. Like, why are these girls making a lot of money on Instagram? An ass is an ass, tits is tits. A small waist is a small waist, and a pretty face is a pretty face. That's everywhere. Why should you get paid for that? I don't understand that. Same thing. Why should you get paid to show off your ass when you could see that anywhere else for free? I'm just saying, you could see that anywhere else for free. Why would you do that? Same thing in the tennis thing.
Yeah.
Just saying, you should not be rewarded for doing that. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know what type of message it's trying to send. But maybe, Carly, you know what? Maybe if next time we go out, maybe we should just go like kick in a door somewhere, film ourselves doing it, curse out somebody, act like a dumbass, and then post it everywhere. And maybe we'll get some incentives by doing so. Ain't gonna happen. Why is it happening here? Ask yourself that question. What do we need to do as humanity, as human beings?
He doesn't deserve that.
What do we need to do?
He doesn't deserve that.
I guess we get rewarded now, not by acting like a good student. Now we get rewarded for acting like a dipshit. Mm-hmm. And that's an issue. It's a big time freaking issue. And I'll leave it at that. Okay. I think that's all I have.
What's going on Netflix now? I'm watching. I got to finish that 100. The 100. We got to finish that.
Maybe we can check it out tonight. Maybe a couple of shows.
100. I like that show.
There was one last thing I wanted to address.
Barty got married. She got married and she looked very pretty with her longtime mate. I said, good for her. You know, she retired and now she is married, happy, enjoying life. Yeah.
I thought I missed something. I didn't, but let's reiterate this question, and I'd love to read it in comments. Now I know a lot of people watch this after it's long been recorded and so forth. But do you know any other athletes, in my opinion, like Aaron Judge for the New York Yankees, that are coming into it and doing it by talking, or excuse me, by walking and not doing it by talking? Who are some young aspiring athletes that are doing it by being a champion, a student, a gentleman, a lady, and not by acting like a shithead?
That answer is easy. Yeah. I mean, Ketsu just answered it for you. I asked this question to Gil Gross and would like to hear your thoughts. If only one of the big three existed during the era, would it be possible for them to get 30 majors without the competition? Absolutely.
It's a good question.
These three guys were born if they would have born in separate eras, yeah, they would have won 30. Absolutely. Nadal with his clay. Federer was dominating for a very long time. I hated Federer for a very long time. He was just dominating, and then came Nadal. And then came Djokovic, a late bloomer, Absolutely. These guys deserve 30 slams on their own. They really do. They are great in many ways. All three of them are different, very different in my opinion. They're all very different. It's a shame that we won't get this again, but I guess that's life. I mean, I would have loved to have them all in separate eras, don't you think?
I agree. When Carla and I first met, Carla, and I won't go through the whole story, but just to reiterate where I'm going with this, Carla and I met because she was getting her coaching certificate, and she found me on a kind of a directory of coaches in the area, and I was the closest to her. Anyway, we met, and the rest is history. But when I first met Carla, being a big Roger Federer fan, by the way, and I'm sure you all know this, but I have a Roger Federer tattoo on my back. It's really big. It's like this big in the center of my back. So that's how much of a fan that I am, and Djokovic as well, and Nadal. But Roger Federer, Carla used to call crybaby. It would piss me off so bad. I met Carla. I was, hey, be prepared for this. You got to be a little bit more motivational. You got to be a little bit more inspiring. You got to get. We're going through the motions of getting her coaching certification. And every time I would wear a Roger Federer shirt or show her my Roger Federer tattoo, she'd be like, "What's up with that crybaby on your back? Okay, so for the record, why did you and I almost never work out? Because you called Roger Federer. What did you see in him that led you to call him crybaby all the time and get completely under my damn skin?"
I mean, honestly, when you're a fan of somebody else, if somebody else is winning a lot, you get mad, right? And that's the only reason why.
Okay, so you purposely try to get under my skin.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is not bad. Djokovic is not bad. Federer is not bad. Nadal's not bad. They all are different. I mean, if I was a Federer fan, I would probably say Nadal is annoying because of his little antics that he has, with the little bottle.
Picking his butt.
If I was a Djokovic fan, I would say the same thing about Nadal, so they're all great.
So what's Federer's thing? What's Federer's thing?
Crying all the time for no reason. You find that annoying if you're a fan of one of the others, always being treated like royalty. You know what I mean? Everybody looking up. I remember when Safin and Murray and all of them looked up to him like he was a god. He's not a god. He's just a human being.
He's just a tennis player.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they're all good guys. They're not bad guys. They haven't done anything wrong.
Now, speaking of crying, when Roger Federer lost to Djokovic after
Carla's so petty.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, they're all great guys. At the end of the day, there's nothing really that we can pick at these three guys. I mean, all of these tennis players are really good. I mean, even if we don't like one or not the other. I mean, Nick Kyrgios, I can't put him in that category because he's really a douchebag. But Djokovic, I mean, what has he really done that's bad? Not want to get a vaccine, slam his rackets. Okay, I mean, he's human. Even though I don't like it, he's a human being. I felt like he got disqualified wrongly at the U.S. Open. I feel like, if somebody else would have done that, that would have never happened. I mean, at the end of the day, they're all great. They're all human beings. They bleed just like us. If something bad happens to them, we would feel really bad,
Exactly.
So
exactly. Yeah. Now, another time Roger Federer was seen crying was when he was doing his South American and Central American.
That was just.
You remember
show.
that?
That was just for show.
And what crybaby was consoling Federer when they cried on each other's shoulders? Sasha Zverev, Alexander Zverev. Did you all see this? Yes. A couple of years ago, I think how long has it been? A long time. Carla got me all the hats though. That year, Roger Federer was still with Nike, and he had 3 hat colors that released. It was a purple, a yellow, and a green. And she got me all 3. And I sold all 3 and made money, but I didn't realize after the fact that he was going to change from Nike to Uniqlo, and now they're even more valuable. So I should have held those kind of like how I hold all my shoes now. But Sasha Zverev and Roger Federer were doing this exhibition type thing in South America. Some shit hits the fan at a Coliseum. People start going nuts. And Roger Federer's all crying. And then Zverev's like, it's okay, baby. I love you. So cheesy. It's kind of like the Labor Cup. It's kind of like the damn Labor Cup. Labor Cup is cheesy, and so is that. A bunch of crybabies. Okay? All right, where are we going, Carla? Where are we going next? Okay. Here we go. Djokovic is still preparing for the U.S. Open. So we know that he's not.
I mean, they really should let him play. To me, it's ridiculous. Now we got monkeypox. Come on, just let the guy play. Like, it's just stupid. At this point, it's stupid. It really is stupid.
Do you think he will play?
They should let him play.
He's preparing and hoping.
He should prepare, and they should let him play. It's really stupid.
All right, here's another question. If Djokovic plays or doesn't play, if he plays, does that mean he's definitely winning the U.S. Open? And if he doesn't play, that means someone new is going to win it, even though Nadal's still playing. So, in other words, if Djokovic plays, it's my hypothesis, it's my theory that Djokovic wins the tournament. However, if Djokovic doesn't play and Nadal plays and Nadal does play, I'm thinking that doesn't even matter and someone new wins their first major. Now, does anybody want to throw out there Medvedev's chances of winning, given that he just won it? No one's even talking about Medvedev.
I don't think Medvedev has a chance. I think we'll see someone new. But again, to not let someone play just because they didn't get the COVID shot at this point, at this moment in life, I think it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
People are getting COVID like crazy.
Monkeypox.
They're getting COVID like crazy. We're seeing them, just recuperate just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, why not tell the guy, hey, you have to wear a mask to come in. Make sure you're isolated. Make sure you have your separate house. When you come
Which she does all
when
that.
you come into the facility, wear a mask. Make sure that your team wears a mask. Have hand sanitizer, whatever bullshit you want to create over this stupid COVID bullshit.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, don't shake your opponent's hand or wear a fucking glove and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
I mean, this is so fucking stupid.
You could almost come up with the conspiracy theory that would happen. Let's say they did let Djokovic play, right? They'll let him play, and then all of a sudden there'll be some crazy story that he purposely got in someone's face. It would be a nightmare. By the way, speaking of COVID, the president of the United States, again, I'm not a politician. I don't like politics. I'm too dumb of a human being. There's one thing that I know for sure about myself. I'm a dumbass human being. I'm as dumb can get. Keeping it, I'm dumb. However, I do know one fact, that it seems to me that the president has been vaccinated like 27 times over, but he still got the disease.
But he's still fine. And he's an old-ass fart.
Like,
and he's still fine, right? Which is to my point, that why does it matter if nobody plays or not? I'm just saying.
Yeah, who cares, man?
I'm just saying.
Just let the brother play.
Exactly. Why are we? I mean, at this point, 3 years later, 2 years later, why does it matter?
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Preposterous, honestly. Okay, on a positive note, Ashley Barty finally got married.
I already said that.
Okay, good job for Ashley Barty. Do you have a picture of that wedding, by the way? I don't know if you have one or not, but great job for Ash Barty. I could not imagine, at least looking at it like a cover. I don't know them, obviously, but I couldn't imagine someone that would be more serene to marry than her, based upon what we know about her. But she may be a hellion. I don't know.
Very pretty. She looked very pretty in her dress.
Let's go, girl.
She looked very pretty. I like her dress. It was classy. It was classy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job. Congratulations.
It was classy.
To Ash
now
Barty.
she can have children and not worry about it.
All right.
Not worry about having to come back, make a career, blah, 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 blah.
Naomi Osaka. I bring her up only for a couple of reasons. Well, there could be many reasons, but for this segment, only a couple. Naomi Osaka has a new schematic for her Yonex E-Zone racket or E-Core whatever racket for this upcoming U.S. Open. Besides tennis shoes, I do have a fetish for rackets as well. I could have a whole closet full of rackets, and I may not even. My favorite racket, personally, currently, it's not a Babolat, it's not a Wilson, it's a Diadem Nova or a Diadem Elevate. My favorite racket to play with, and I have a whole bag full of them sitting here. It's just, it has a great feel. It's a great racket. But Naomi Osaka has a sister, and the sister helped her design the schematics on this racket. Okay. A, does this make you want to buy an Osaka racket?
No.
Are you a fan of Yonex? Are you a fan?
I did use Yonex when I was playing challengers. Yes.
Okay.
That was the only racket I used.
Okay, good. That's all I use. Yeah, I've had Yonex rackets. I've had them. We had a couple that one of our students donated to us, but ultimately they were way too heavy for me. Something like 12 ounces unstrung or something. They were really too heavy, obviously, for him, or we wouldn't have gotten them. But how does Naomi Osaka do at this upcoming U.S. Open? Can she win it?
No.
Why?
She hasn't practiced.
I think she will win it.
Okay, no. I would like for her to win it, but I don't think so.
How about Andreescu?
I just don't know. The women's, it's just like the men's right now is going to be very unpredictable. I don't know.
How far does Emma Raducanu make it in the tournament, the U.S. Open? Does she lose in the first week, Raducanu? So she won it last time. Does she even make it past the first week? Does she even make it past the first round?
Who, Raducanu?
Raducanu.
Depends what her draw is.
If you're ranked number 10 in the world and we have to sit back and figure out whether or not, depends how your draw is, that's not a top 10 player, because every other person that's within the top 10 that's seeded based upon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the seeds are spaced out as to where they're going to get a relatively quote unquote easy match in the first round.
Larry said any 128 can win, even Badosa.
Good point. Mm-hmm. Hence why he said earlier it's a random top 10.
Where are we?
I'm almost done.
Okay.
Okay, I do think that Naomi Osaka wins the U.S. Open. I think she wins it. I don't know what the betting.
I hope so, but I don't think that she's practicing enough or has the heart or desire to want to win.
Mike Walker, if you're out there, hopefully you are. Can you find out what the betting odds are right now on Naomi Osaka winning the U.S. Open? If you're out there, my brother, I love you, know that. If you can tell me what the odds are right now, if I were to call Caesars or MGM Grand, I was to say, hey, what are the odds for Naomi Osaka to win the U.S. Open as of right now? what would they be? And I'd be willing to put $100 on that. I mean, because I'm sure it's probably 25-1. Bet $100, come back with 2,500. I mean, I'm thinking I would play that action. Anyway, let me know on that. But I do think Naomi Osaka wins it. I think this is.
Me too, troll mine. I hope she loses, and we'll stop talking about her.
Let's go. Exactly.
If Brat kind of wins, will Justin change his stance on her? La follow.
But wins what? The whole tournament?
She's not
or just a round?
She's not going to win it, Jose P.
Yeah. If I tell you what, Jose P. I make you a pact. If Raducanu, who defends her title and wins the U.S. Open, okay, I'll change my stance. But I mean, she must win it. She's number 10 in the world. She's the defending champion. Like, winning a round or two is not sustainable. Do you know that if she doesn't win a few rounds, much less defend her title, that she's going to drop off the top 100 in the world?
Yeah.
That's how bad she is.
We know.
Okay, last thing that I have. We know that we were just watching the Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz match. By the way, we were reminded of how bad his squeal or screech is. It's freaking ridiculous. Alcaraz is the worst men's grunter on tour right now. And don't forget, Jamie Munar is another really bad grunter. Nadal is up there with the worst of the worst.
No, his is
like he's taking a shit every time he hits the ball. More like I take a dump.
More like he's
Here you go.
more like a girl is cramping. Or burp.
Shut up, dude. We honestly, and this is yeah. This is the last segment. When Carla and I turned on the Jannik Sinner match, we had just gone to Mississippi and grocery shop, put all the stuff up, and we kick on the tennis channel.
Felix as well.
And all we heard is Carla turned the damn volume down. I didn't do it. She did it.
I was like, screw this shit. I'm tired of hearing this. Will Leylah Fernandez make another run? Not to the finals, no.
It's possible.
I don't think so.
I think that she has Eleanor. I think
she needs a little bit more meat in her body.
Okay.
No.
Who has a better chance of going further in this upcoming U.S. Open? And I don't want to hear, well, depends on how the draw goes.
Fernandez.
Who has a better chance? Fernandez or Raducanu?
Fernandez. I already know what you're gonna ask.
Okay. I'm gonna take Fernandez there.
Yeah, I think we all.
All right.
Hasn't she been injured? I think so.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. Is Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz a rivalry that we will end up beholding like Djokovic Nadal or Nadal Federer? Is Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner a future rivalry that we will behold? Do you think that this happens or not?
Yes, there will be a rival, obviously. Michael August at 900 for Osaka to win.
Plus 900? Plus 900?
I don't know. He put 900. Read.
Okay.
No, you're not betting because you suck at betting.
But I could
you're not betting.
I could put $20 on 1,800.
You don't have luck at all.
$20, Mike. Give me $20 on that. 20. Yeah. So 20. I went 1,800, right? So I bet 20. I went 18. There's my math off. No, it'd be 180, isn't it?
Anyways,
$20, 900 to 1. 900. Yeah, it'd be 1,800. $20 on that, Mike. Let's go. All right, that's all we have. By the way, for the U.S. Open, you know, we're giving away $700 U.S. To anyone that can predict the men's final, the women's final, and both winners. We're giving away $50 a piece to the top 2 winners in the fantasy team competition. I'm adding something to it. You can take this choice here. If you're a tennis player, if you won the predictions, you can either choose the $700 cash, we'll send it to you, or this is even a bigger value, we'll send you four brand new Diadem rackets, whether it's 2 Elevate, 2 Nova, 3 Elevate, 1 Nova. We'll send you 4 new tennis rackets from Diadem that are worth about $230 a piece. Okay, so 230 times 4, you're talking near $1,000. If you win that, the only thing that you need to do is subscribe. Just subscribe before the tournament starts. We have a list, and that's all you need to do. It's free, and we're giving out real stuff. Okay. But if you were to predict that, and you are a player that just has maybe 1 racket, 2 rackets maybe, and you want 4 brand new in the box, which is what we play with, the both of us, and a lot of other people, we'll do 4 rackets. So think about that. Make sure to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and we will see you guys next Monday. Don't forget that when the U.S. Open begins, we will be doing shows every single day. We would love to do them at the club where we teach, and we're very lucky to do so. But the internet only handles just the video system. And we definitely don't want to mess with that because it's important that goes. But that's why we can't do it there. So we will be doing it daily. So sometimes the show times may be really early in the morning or really late at night, but we can't wait. $700, 4 rackets, your choice. Subscribe is the only reason to qualify, or the only way to qualify. Okay? Adios. Let's go. Come on, Ric Flair. Woo!